first look we're beginning with today is this classic 1930s poolside top knot turban look. Let's first begin by getting all of our hair out of the way. You can do this by putting it in a small ponytail or, like me, not even having brushed it, put it into a simple French roll. Let's put the scarf directly over the head lengthwise with your head right in the middle of the length of the scarf. I like to tuck it behind the ears just to secure it while I'm working. Now, taking both of those ends behind the head, cross those over to give us some tails. You can see the tails here as they cross over and come over my shoulders. Now, we take those tails, wrap them around the front and give them a quick twist. As you can see, once you twist these pieces across each other, that helps to secure it there at the front. Then, holding one piece at 180 degrees, that's straight up from the head, use the other tail to wrap around that piece. Once you've wrapped the first piece around, then wrap the second piece. You can see now how there's those two little rabbit tails at the front that we need to secure. You can do this by tying a little tiny knot in those behind the bunch. Or you can use, like I have here, a little dressmaking pin. This way it helps to give it a finished and neat effect. To complete our retro look, I've used a little hair clip here with some flowers and cherries on that put into the side, and there you have it, a cute 1930s poolside turban type look. Our next look is a quick and simple 2-in-1 headscarf and neckerchief look. We start by once again placing the scarf over our head widthwise, right in the middle. Tuck it behind the ears to secure. Then, grabbing the piece over one shoulder, wrap that around the head using your fingers to secure that in place. We keep that front section fairly wide so that we can work with that later. Then we'll repeat the same process on the other side. You'll need to use your hands to keep this secure as you're moving along. You'll see how on one side the width of the scarf allows us to have more to play with. Now we pull that nice and taut behind the head, wrapping that around the neck, and with a quick flip it becomes our neck scarf. You can see how there's an asymmetrical tail on this side here, which if you wish you can pin that back. But of course, I like to have that jaunty piece of interest to the side, so I pull that section out. You could do this on either side, whichever suits you best. This simple asymmetrical turban look is one of the most popular for me, as it also looks a little like a beret. Once again, we start by putting the scarf widthways over the head with our head in the middle and secure it behind the ears. I've also twisted it behind the head here. Taking the first tail, I wrap that right across the head and hold it behind in place with my hand. Take the second tail and instead of crossing over directly above the nose, I'm crossing that over above the arch of my other eye. This is what gives us the asymmetrical effect. Those two tails are crossed over at the back and then tied in a small knot. Once the knot is tied, the tails of that section are tucked up underneath. You can choose to either secure this with a bobby pin into your hair, or if you don't have hair to secure this into, just a little crocodile grip will do. Now we go back to the front and make sure we've tucked in all the hair there, as well as smoothing out, ready to add our feature. Here I have a 1960s brooch, which goes into the section just above the arch of the eyebrow. Now because I've chosen not to pin into this scarf, I've instead taken the matching pair of clip-on earrings, which can clip directly into this section for the added interest. is one I've created to make a 1960s pillbox hat effect. This time we need to take the end of the scarf across the shortest part of the width, place that across the head and tuck behind the ears to secure. Then take those very small ends behind the head, hold them there while you bring the length of the scarf over your shoulder so you have one long tail. Now, as we wrap this around the head, you're going to need to carefully hold things in place to make sure that it doesn't slide off, but so that we can also work with that width to start to spread it out the way it needs to sit. Now, with that long tail behind the head, I'm securing that in place with another dressmaker's pin. This makes it a lot easier to keep winding that around the head without things sliding off. Now, I bring that long tail back around over that same shoulder and continue winding around the head on that slightly off-center. You can see here that the tail keeps going around the back, holding that secure around the crown. And as we work it, we make sure that the top isn't getting pushed down under those tails. Now, with the remaining end over that shoulder, I take that and once again wind it around the front section. Once that front section is wound around in place, take a final dressmaker's pin and pin that tail into the folds. We're not using knots here because we don't wish to have a final lumpy type effect. Now that we've finished wrapping and pinning off, it's time to add the feature. I'm adding the 1960s brooch and then the earrings that we saw from before. This gives us a much more finished and evening type effect. Simply then, using the top of the scarf, make sure that it's in the right rounded position to give that hat-like effect. And there we go, a 1960s pillbox effect, simply with a headscarf. I hope you've enjoyed this brand new headscarf tutorial video, and remember to subscribe to my channel where I upload new hair, fashion and beauty videos every Thursday. And come and check out the Super Kawaii Mama blog, where it's all about vintage glamour for the 21st century life.